12 Pakao have passed their preparation lesson from yesterday. At 4 p.m., it will be the first time for the newcomers to join the ranks of the monastic members for Nam Pana. Nam Pana is a refreshment that is brewed according to the Vinaya. To relieve the monks and novices from the exhaustion of monastic work, Nam Pana is permitted for consumption in the afternoon. Then the children and Pra Ajan help one another tidy up after the Nam Pana session. Saenasana means dwelling or residence for the monks. This may also include a building, cave, or even under a tree. Keeping the Saenasana tidy at all times is a primary duty of a Buddhist monk. Pra Ajan divided the children into groups. He assigned the groups for cleaning duty at designated areas: the stone cave, stone stupa, and the roundabout. The boys were eager to help. Some were even willing to work with bare hands. Cleaning the monastery is not only for hygienic purpose. It helps with controlling one's mind and body. Exercise and social skills are another benefit that come with the cleaning duty. The kids are gathering at the hall to get ready for the evening chant. Today's evening chant started with meditation. The children chant along with the senior monks.
Now let us pay preliminary homage to the Buddha. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Luang Ta Anek planned to spend time with the kids after the evening chant.
เราตั้งใจฟังครูบาอาจารย์กำลังเอาความดีให้เรากำลังบอกทางแห่งความดีให้เราได้ดำเนินตามเราจะเข้าถึงความดีด้วยความรู้จักความดีและเราจะทำตามที่ครูบาอาจารย์บอกและเราเข้าใจเรารู้จักความดีมันก็อยู่ที่นั่นก็ความดีความงามก็เกิดขึ้นอันนี้เป็นจิตเบื้องต้นนะลูกหลานนะเป็นจิตเบื้องต้นจะมาจากจังหวัดไหนประเทศไหนชาติภาษาไหนไม่สำคัญที่เรามาทำเหมือนกันเราจะเป็นคนดีเหมือนกันเราจะทำดีให้ได้เหมือนกันอันนี้ไม่ได้ต่างกันเลย
Listen to your teacher when they teach you to be good. So you should follow his instruction because all the teacher teaches is all good, all the things that will make us happy, make us beautiful in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. So it doesn't matter whether you are come from which country, which language do you speak, but we can all become a good person here together.
Later in the evening, Pra Ajahn allowed Andrew to come and talk to the boys about their experiences that day.
What was the good thing that you learned from Bintabat? I'd like to know. Who'd like to? Artie, tell me.
I just saw that when I go walk Winterbat the first time, my leg was tired and I couldn't walk, but the second time it was not tired anymore.
Trevor, what were the villagers like when you collected food from them?
Very nice.
Andrew asked the kids to revise today's activities. He explained to them that the activity was meant to reinforce their resilience and concentration. Then they joined together in a walking meditation. It took some time for the new Bakao to fall into serenity. After the walking meditation, Andrew continued the conversation with the boys.
Now, do you feel better for doing that? What?
When we walk, we concentrate on our feet and on our breathing and like how our feet is moving and how we shift weight. And the concentration makes me really calm and makes me like stay with the present, and I don't really sidetrack on my thoughts a lot.
Good. Yes.
I think it's better than sitting meditation.
Why?
Because you don't get cramps.
Guys, you get cramps. You might step on something. You might step on a snake though, or something like that, right?
Yeah, but you get to move yourself while being calm.
You get to move.
So like, so
Pay attention, guys.
there's movement. So it's not a still action, but calm is a still action. So it contrasts.
Yeah, it's very calming. Would anyone like to tell us about their book or not?
Some have already written down their experiences in their self-decorated notebooks.
Okay, Benno, show us your book. Okay, show everyone the cover. And can you explain it to us?
I peeled it off because I'm gonna make it again.
Okay, what is it? Would you like to read it for us?
So, day one of Bab holding, or sin holding. So, we were taking the document for the first time when we joined this program. We also learned how to grab properly and change sitting positions politely so we don't point our feet at the monks and Buddhas. Also, we are learning the Buddha teachings. After that, we practiced the chants. We also learned Anjali Vanta Abhivat.
Before the end of the conversation, Andrew asked the children to revise the goals of their monastic life, the purpose that led them to this very remote part of the kingdom. The boys then reflected on their own experiences together.
Very quickly, very quickly. What is learn? What's learning about?
Learning is about study.
Keep going.
And studying makes knowledge, and you can study in many ways.
What about living together? What are you learning about living together?
We can make new friends.
Good. What else?
We
You.
can love each other.
You can make relationship with other people.
Good. Yeah. What else, Vincent?
We can love each other.
What about love? This is love for who? Love for mom, love for dad, love for grandparents, love for teacher, love for yourself. 5 points for JL. The most important thing is love for yourself. You've got to love yourself before you can love anybody else.
The lesson has just begun. The 12 newcomers still have a long way to go to learn the knowledge of the Buddha.
Everything happens and dies away. So
Everything lives and dies and changes, right?
nothing will stay forever. Everything that comes must go. So we must learn to let go.
Yang kinchi samutthaya dhammang sapandang nirotha dhammanti. Whatever has the nature of arising has the nature of ceasing. Part of the first teaching of the Buddha, this text reflects the true nature of the world, which is one of the main contexts of Buddhism. "12 foreign boys gradually immerse themselves into the profound nature of Buddhist doctrine. The third morning of the 12 children began with a routine chant before dawn. Although the time for meditation was set for 5 a.m., some were ahead of schedule. Every day, all the children start the day with meditation and practicing mindfulness before the morning chant with Pra Ajan.
โยโสตถาคโตอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชชาจารณสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตโรปุริสธัมมัสสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสสานัง
The morning chant started with paying respects to the triple gems, comprised of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the teaching, and the Sangha, the monks. The children were closely looked after by Pra Ajahn during the morning chant. After the morning chant, Pra Ajahn demonstrated the proper way to wash the bowl with clean water before the alms round. Glok Pa means filling the bowl with clean water. The purpose is to clean out any dust and insects that may be trapped inside the bowl. Accidental consumption of insects would be considered as a breach of the precepts. This morning, Pra Ajahn divided all the children into two main routes for the alms round. The first route stretches as far as the commercial district, on the other side of the main road. The other was near the local community of Wat Pa Saingam. Both routes are filled with faithful Buddhists who got up early to make merit before starting the day. They enthusiastically lent their hands to Pra Ajahn during the almsgiving. Apart from the food from the morning's merit, a special cuisine and sweets were prepared for the boys. Such a gesture by the locals signifies their warm welcome. Andrew and Jack also brought food for the morning alms. On the way back to the temple, some children were asking for permission to carry Pra Ajahn's alms. After a few days of observation, the boys are now eager to help wash the senior monk's feet. In many Asian cultures, feet are considered to be the lowest and the dirtiest part of the body. Therefore, washing feet is a good way to show your respect to the teachers. Most importantly, its aim is to detach oneself from the ego and encourage the value of selflessness. Pra Ajahn offered the lotus received from this morning's alms to the Buddha. The children and Jack helped out with sorting the food as usual. A variety of food was quickly arranged and sorted out by the laywomen and the children. It was then time for Jack to learn some Isan dialect from the laywomen.
แปลครับช่วยสอนภาษาอีสานให้ผมหน่อยได้ไหมครับ
ภาษาอีสาน
ครับ
ยายใจพูดภาษาอีสานให้ฟังหน่อย
ก็บอกแบบเฮานี่แหละ
แล้วเว้าแบบเฮา
แม่นเจ้าหูเรื่องอยู่ไหมบ่
รู้เรื่องอยู่ว่าภาษาอีสาน
รู้เรื่องไหม
ที่กำลังคุยอยู่ไม่รู้เรื่อง
นั่น
ค
แห
รับ
ละนั่นแหละนี่แหละภาษาอีสานนี่
Jack got on well, especially with some help from the boys who were fluent in the dialect.
ในถ้าผมจะอยากแนะนำตัวเป็นภาษาอีสานต้องบอกว่าอะไรครับ
แนะนำตัว
เขา
เป็น
บอก
ภา
ว่า
ษา
คนชื่ออะไรชื่อแจ็ค
ผ
ใช่
ม
ไหม
ชื่อแจ็คครับ
ไปซื้อแก๊ก
อะไรนะครับ อะไรนะครับ
คอยชื่อแจ็คคอยชื่อแจ็ค
นั่นแหละ
คอยบอกว่า
คอยชื่อแจ็คโบ
เออ
ต้องบอกคอยชื่อแจ็คโบโอเค
After the sorting, there was an opportunity for the boys to get to know one another better.
rock paper scissors unda rock paper scissors unda rock paper scissors unda rock paper scissors unda
While some preferred to read quietly. Throughout the morning, the children gradually learn the daily practices from Pra Ajahn. Little by little, they're getting better on their own. These activities will be sure to equip the boys with the necessary skills to fully ordain as wonderful young novices in the days to come. By breakfast time, the boys were ready in the dining hall. Multiple heavy trays were not a problem for the young postulants, who were eager to assist with the offering. Today, Pra Ajahn suggested to the children to observe the posture and the routine of the senior monks to prepare them for such a life after the ordination. The senior monks allowed the boys to carry their alms bowls back to their seats.
Can you stand on the red line of the mat? Readiness is shown from a person who stands still, holding your wrist with your two eyes closed. Okay, Trevor, you're ready to go, please.
Today is different. The monks ask the children to be composed before allowing them to go and take their meals one by one.
Bin, he knows his quantity. He already knows his own quantity.
This is my quantity.
Okay, so you go.
While taking food, Pra Ajahn reminded them to be mindful at all times. The food that should be taken should only be enough for one to eat, and they should refrain from overconsumption. Once they're done eating, the boys have to show the monks their bowls for inspection. For those with food left over, Pra Ajahn taught them that consideration should be taken into account when taking food. The children then washed their own bowls and cutlery. Once they were done, the boys assisted the monks as they were taught. Situated above the pond, the 12 Bakau will receive their lesson in the pavilion for the first time. Along with Pra Ajahn, they help with the cleanup. Today they will learn about Tudong. Tudong is the journey to purify oneself from defilement and to gain insight from solitude. Pra Ajahn told stories about the journey and the adventure of the monks to the boys.
One type of tudong is wandering around, wandering in the forest. Without money, no money, no food. You can't bring the food. You can't bring money. And then you just go by your bowl and your tree roof. That's all. Or one umbrella and one mosquito net.
The camping ground at the cemetery was most interesting to the boys.
Go there.
Cemetery?
Yes. Yes.
That's just quick.
This is the good place because nobody wants to disturb you.
Cemetery is where you bury dead people.
Yeah, right.
Why would you go there?
Because the place is really quiet. Nobody wants to go because you are scared over there, You are not go there to...
What if somebody passed by a cemetery and you just open your eye?
Nobody will pass by.
He explained that one rule of thumb of Tudong is to never stay in one place longer than 15 days. Pra Ajahn also used this opportunity to educate the kids with the knowledge of herbal medicine, which could come in handy in the dense forest.
You see the flower, the white flower, this is Bai Sapsa. Actually, this is the medicine.
Who is Sapsa?
If you cut, have a bleeding, you take this Bai Sapsa and put it. And this is the good medicine.
The next chapter the children learned was the story of Naga, or Great Snake. The word Naga is used to refer to candidates for the monkhood.
Anybody see the Naga before? Huh? Oh, some of you. Naki. Oh, Naki. Okay, so Naki is a girl. Naka is a boy, right?
Pra Ajahn told the children the story of Naga. There was a serpent who was very faithful in Buddhism. Unfortunately, he could not be ordained because he was not a human. In order to be qualified for ordination, the Naga changed his form into a human being and was ordained as a monk. At night, when he fell asleep, the Naga monk returned to his original form, a serpent. One day, a monk saw the Naga monk in his serpent form and told Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha questioned the Naga monk until he knew the truth and told him to leave.
So the Buddha called this Naga, and then, is it true that you are the Naga? And then the Naga said, yes. Yeah. The Buddha said, why do you ordain? He said, I want to get enlightened. But the Buddha said that it's impossible for the Naga to get enlightened. Okay? Because the Naga is an animal. Okay? Who are we? We are human, right? We are humans. We're special. We have a potential to enlighten, which is all the animal doesn't have. So even though the Naga, he wants to ordain, he become maybe a novice and a monk, as long as he try to practice, there's no way he can get enlightened.
The Naga regretted that he could no longer be a monk. He asked Lord Buddha to use his name in Buddhism so that anyone who would be ordained for the monkhood would be called Naga. The tradition remains until now. After Pra Ajahn finished telling the legend of Naga, he went on to tell the story of the ordination of Prince Siddhartha.
You know the story of the prince when he born. You know the dream of the prince mother, Sri Maya. You know what did she dream of before?
An elephant, a white elephant.
She was standing beside Maya.
Yes.
And then he said, you just came out to meet me.
Okay, what kind of elephant?
It's like an elephant.
White, right?
Yeah.
White elephant.
White elephant.
Before the morning session ended, Pra Ajahn mentioned about the preparation for ordination. He told the children to recite for him the Ukasa chant, which will be used during the ordination ceremony.
Can you show me the chanting? Who will remember it already? No?
What chanting?
Part of it, maybe?
I know part of it.
Okay.
Right. I only know 2 boxes of it.
Okay.
You mean the Ukasa one?
Uh-huh.
Ukasa one tami pante sapang apatang kamatame pante maya katang punyang samina anamuti tapang samina katang punyang mayham tatapang satu anamutang.
Oh, great.
Pra Ajahn told the children to chant the Ukasa together. Some could remember the chant accurately, while some could not do it quite accurately. A few could not remember the chant at all. Pra Ajahn ended the morning session by emphasizing that everyone needed to pay serious attention to the practice because the scheduled date of the ordination is coming closer. In the afternoon, it was time for a learning process session for the boys. Tamasak Lupuwa Pitakun, a Thai artist and organic farmer, met the soon-to-be novices again at the sala in the middle of the pond. Today, the place for learning was different from other days. To begin today's activity, Tamasak introduced the 12 children to observe themselves through their own eyes, using available tools and their unlimited imagination.
So what you do is you set the mirror in front of you.
Wait.
And then put it in the right angle that you can see yourself clearly. And then you start drawing yourself. And you guys can start drawing now.
Each kid looked at his own face carefully in the reflection in the mirror before beginning to draw what they saw. Tamasak provided instructions and advice to each of them closely.
You look at the mirror first. What do you see?
I made a mistake. I see myself.
You see yourself. Now you look thoroughly. You look carefully. Look at your eyes, your nose, your mouth. And you have to draw something that is skewed. It doesn't have to be like so realistic. This is okay if you see yourself like that.
Some children used their imagination, together with what they had seen in Wat Pa Sai Ngam, in drawing the pictures. After allowing an appropriate amount of time, Tamasak sent a signal to the 12 children to change the drawing board and gave them their next assignment.
Okay, close your eyes, everybody. Close your eyes and listen to me. Okay, I want you all to think of somebody. When you think of something. Who is that person? The person inside you. Who is that? Okay, think of that person. The person you trust. The person inside you that you trust. It can be yourself, it can be anyone. Okay? Anyone has a question?
Nope.
Okay, start drawing right now.
The children closed their eyes, thinking of what they were seeing in their head, and then started to draw it out. They were trying to express what was inside. After all the children finished their drawings, Tamasak allowed each one to explain their drawing, starting with the drawing of their own reflection.
This is me. I haven't finished it. I haven't painted the clothes and all that thing and the trees at the back. I did these because there's the bars there.
Oh, you saw that in the mirror as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a picture of me and I copied the statue.
The statue up here?
Yes.
Oh.
But they say they're walking to the temple, but instead I said I'm walking to dead meat. And I'm dead.
So one side is normal me and one side is when I'm a monk.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So I like to think I have shining hair.
Uh-huh.
So I made it with paint.
Okay, so you use paints to make it shiny.
But for monks, I don't have hair anymore. But I think monks have like this special aura.
Okay.
So I made the skin kind of golden.
Okay.
Then the kids explained the drawing of what they saw when they closed their eyes. Each kid saw things inside them differently. Some saw people who were close to them. Some saw people they remembered.
And that person is
My mom.
your mom. Why?
Because my mom taught me anything I wanted to learn.
Okay. So whatever you want to learn, your mom just gonna inspire you that, gonna teach you that.
She taught me how to wash my dishes and how to mop the floor.
Okay. This person pops up. Who's that?
It's my friend.
It's your friend. Who is your friend? What's his name?
His name is Nawin.
Nawin. Wow. Why is it him?
Because I think I thought of him.
You thought of him?
Yes.
Some saw animals which shared similar characteristics with them.
Goldfish and like that the same idea is I like to swim and goldfish like to swim, so we
you're
are
the same. All right. Who's that?
Betty.
Who?
Her name is Betty. She's in an animation.
She's in an animation.
Yeah.
And why is it her?
Because she's my favorite character.
She's your favorite. What makes she so special for you?
In that animation, they use soul to represent every person.
Soul.
Yeah, and her soul was determination, so it was kind of like me because if I want to do something, I'm kind of determined to do it.
Some drew what came from their own imagination.
An animal.
An animal. What kind of animal is that?
A bunny.
And this bunny always come in your mind when you close your eyes?
Yeah.
When you need help?
Yeah.
It helps you?
Yeah.
Help you think? What's so special?
So when I was sleeping last night, the first thing that popped into my mind, this animated bunny with a muffled nose, like a mouth that you'd expect from a bunny.
Yeah.
And black beady eyes. And then whenever it was sad, it would make this sound.
After all the children finished talking about their two drawings, Tamasak explained the value of this activity.
Have done a really, really good job. This session is about seeing yourself, your body, and your mind. The first one with the mirror is the picture you see is physically yourself. Okay, you might not see the real you, but you see the reflection of yourself. That's just the way you to look at yourself quickly. And then close your eyes. The first thing that pops up is really reflecting what you believe in, what you trust, who you trust, what kind of thing, the nature, the love of nature. It's just the thing you believe in, and that is going to reflect it you. So both sides, equally yourself, body and mind. This is how you learn yourself, okay?
Today's afternoon lesson was to encourage the children to practice and develop their observation skills as well as their thinking and analytical skills, which are necessary life skills for the future. Follow the preparation practice before the ordination ceremony and the daily highlight activity tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. on True Vision Channel 60 and 99, True Vision HD Channel 119 and 333, or watch the program on True Bhupanya Channel, or follow the worldwide streaming on www.truelittlemonk.com and Facebook True Little Monk. The live broadcast is available 24 hours on True ID application and True Bhupanya.
it's not so easy to really face suffering. And then even for monks that meditate, or like lay people that do a lot of meditation retreats, that's the key. The key thing is like to be able to accept dukkha and know dukkha, and then more or less let go of dukkha. That's the key teachings of the Buddha. If we were all ready, just with every little thing straight away saying, welcome dukkha, I know you, I've kind of conquered you, that we all be enlightened already. It's like, even for monks, like you start meditating, you're in this perfect surroundings, and you're studying the dukkha with your body a bit here and there, and but like then somebody else comes and challenges you and says something that really frustrates you, or like or you see something really shocking happening, you can't help, or you have physical pain that you didn't anticipate, or you get the message that some of your relatives have died. It's always a lesson. It's always something to revisit and work with. And I guess the difference for somebody who's practicing the teaching is he actively reminds himself of, okay, this is what I'm actually doing. I'm actually studying dukkha. I'm studying suffering. I'm not here to have a good time. There's no real holiday from this. Like even in holidays, like people book holidays, and then the weather isn't good. There's like the service in the hotel isn't good. They start complaining. They have all dukkha of the world. Like even though physically they've kind of removed themselves from the stress of their work, they carry the mental state along. And so it's, yeah, signing up for the program. Yes, I do see the necessity to work with dukkha. Yeah, like it depends on how one uses the words. Like to fight dukkha, it seems a bit like to push it away. That many times isn't the message. Like it's more or less saying, look, come on dukkha, I know what you are like. Yeah, like come on suffering. This is like, I've seen this so many times. I'm aware of like the traps that I can fall into, and or like to give oneself time again to experience it first, and being able to say more or less, instead of having the intuitive or like the instinctive run away thing, which is like conditioned by nature. You see some challenge, or you see something that's possibly threatening your health, or so you have an instinct of shying away. And through learning how to deal with these challenges, actually we have more time in facing things and be able to more or less not fall into a habitual opposition to them. And the best would be we were already well aware ahead of time what we're signing up for. But there's so many surprises, so you gradually have to feel it out by yourself, how you feel like you can take certain unexpected things. And sometimes when things are too heavy, then it's okay to walk away for a while. And there's even in the suttas in the Buddha's teachings, there's things like ideally we would be able to say answer aggression and aversion with metta, but there's also the option of sometimes just to say, okay, I'm not ready for this now, I'll do something else. I'll do something else that's wholesome, but I'm not always in the confrontation. I think that's also very important. Like, for example, the monks generally like to live in a secluded place. So we're not facing dukkha in the middle of Bangkok or so, or like in the middle of our workplace, but we're actually stepping away from the things a bit, and then giving us some breathing space, and then we can actually look at it a bit more. So this is like a fighting, not always there, not also quite aggressive, and sometimes step back and have a little space first in order to realize what's happening, and then we can actually say kind of develop the tools for how to deal with it and accept it more easily. Yeah, the question of how to let go of dukkha. This is again like being able to let go of dukkha is like a process. It doesn't come like through a command. You can tell yourself, you can remind yourself, I should let go. But sometimes, like tell yourself to let go. It just doesn't really work. Like it has to come from this willingness or like uninterestedness of pursuing the challenges. like just more or less like not falling into the trap. And I think it's a bit that a potential that builds up, like we let go voluntarily so many things already. This is why the Buddha also taught the other extreme to deal with sukha. Like we're not supposed to long and crave for this sensual or like feeling happiness, and for the things that are stimulating us. For example, we live a restrained life. We live a life that's simple, and we say no to many things already, and we impose a certain like say manageable framework on ourselves, and we're not out in the rock concerts or like out in the mass we say football stadiums or so, where there's lots of like energy or so. We're actually trying to remove ourselves to things that are attractive and that many people like to do, but we say, no, sorry, I'd like to have it quiet. For example, in the forest tradition, we many times say goodbye to eating around the clock. You know, we say we just like, we do it just at a certain time, and afterwards we tell ourselves it's not on the menu, we're not interested in the meal at that time. And then, so more or less, then we can actually observe easier when craving comes up on one point, and at the same time we've already said no to or let go of the urge to go eat around the clock voluntarily. Say when monks leave the home life, one can say actually it's very unnatural thing to do, but it comes out of this wise consideration. I'll let go of things that actually are causing more entanglement, more responsibilities, more duties, and more necessity for me to react. I want to have a peaceful life, and I like to be alone. That's why I leave mother, father, family, and my job. That's why the Buddha renounced his wife and son, for example. He said no ahead of time, and also to things that actually by most of the people are very attractive and loved and craved for. So many times we say to the positive things, we also say it's enough. We don't only say it to the negative things. So we actually practice to reduce the complexity, and then it's easier to let go. Or like for the big questions, how to let go of, like, you know, say what we're talking about, habitual reactions to pain, for example, or fear of death. These are real big questions. But there's a saying by Ajahn Chah and other Kruba Ajahns is you actually have to teach yourself to die before you die. That means mainly don't wait until you're forced to renounce these things. Like at the moment when you get the message that you have an incurable disease or so. But we actually thought about this before. We've actually practiced to have a life that can easily be ended already. We try to not build up attachments. We try to move away from these entanglements or like things that we ourselves still expect. For example, letting go of the world sounds great, you know, like letting go of the world. When we read it in the suttas, yes, transcending the world, overcoming samsara, letting go of the world sounds great as a philosophy, but we teach ourselves to say, for example, our friends are all going on a trip to Pattaya. We actually want to stay at home. Actually, no need to get drunk and run around doing crazy things. I've had enough of that. I know this already. You can think I'm odd and strange, but I think actually I don't need to go. Or like somebody says, okay, yeah, when you're a monk, you're not allowed to travel somewhere. Like you don't have money, you can't just go to somewhere you like or so. You say, yeah, actually that's the way we want it. We've said no to traveling and running around. We don't actually want to see the world anymore. I actually don't want to go, or I've got no interest in going to Brazil or going to New York or so. I can easily say, I've had enough of this. So if one has taken these steps bit by bit through the inside of like the frustration in running around and new things all the time, then it's easier to let go. And letting go comes naturally. From the step of letting go of the big entanglements, maybe gradually we can work on the things of letting go our, say, like personal favorite things, and letting go even of the wish to have comfort in life, and practicing like the Samaneras just did, practicing Dhutanga practices, telling yourself I'm letting go of the evening meal, letting go of sexuality, letting go of like whatever causes one to want more. So it's a gradual process, and I think it gets easier when one has already made a step in some areas. Like Luang Por Chah said, you die before you die, which is a big task, but like we practice with little things.